Hi everyone, and welcome to another video. Today I'm going to clear up some assumptions I had about Denmark. When I first arrived in Denmark in 2022, I remember hearing a lot of things about Denmark and the Danish culture. Some of them turned out to be true, while others didn't. Now, after almost 2 years of living here, I think I'm finally ready to debunk a few of these myths. Let's get started.
Is Denmark a clean country?
I used to think there was no garbage in the streets of Denmark. We often hear that Nordic countries are very strict about this type of things, so I expected everything to be perfectly spotless. However, after living for almost 2 years in the Copenhagen area, I've come to see that it's not quite as I imagined. The streets are indeed much cleaner than in many places, like in Lisbon, for example, but they are not entirely free of trash. So, is Denmark a clean country? It absolutely is. But I don't think it's as spotless as some media, for example, suggest.
Do babies really sleep in their strollers outside?
You might have heard about this one, and I know, it sounds a bit surprising, right? Personally, I have only seen a baby sleeping in their stroller outside once. However, I have noticed a lot of strollers parked outside without babies on them. From what I've learned and from what Danish friends have shared with me, this is a tradition that was more common some years ago and isn't as widespread today. The idea is that babies sleep more peacefully outside because the fresh air and cooler temperatures are believed to help them fall asleep faster. It is also believed that the exposure to the cold air strengthens the baby resilience to the climate, improving their health over time. So, is it true? Totally. Although it's not as common today, but you can still see it occasionally.
No cars in Denmark?
Another misconception I had before arriving to Denmark was the idea that it would be very rare to see a car here. Because of the strong bike culture here, for some reason I imagined that everyone would be getting around solely by bike. While it's true that everyone owns and uses a bike very frequently, you can actually see car traffic in Denmark too, especially in the central areas. It's not as hard to spot cars as I initially thought. In fact, there are plenty of them in Denmark. So, is it true that Denmark has almost no cars and that everyone uses bikes? No, it isn't.
Can you use fireworks freely in Denmark?
One thing I didn't know before arriving to Denmark is that regular people are allowed to use fireworks here. But can you use them whenever you want? In Denmark, the use of fireworks is controlled by the Danish Fireworks Act. This law allows people to buy and use fireworks only during certain times, usually around New Year's Eve. During these periods, you can use fireworks without a special permit, but only the simple ones that are considered safe. So, is it true that you can use fireworks freely in Denmark? No, it's not. You have to follow the fireworks law.
Free higher education in Denmark?
Before moving to Denmark, I heard rumors in Portugal that you don't need to pay for higher education here, and in some cases you can even get paid to study. I wasn't sure if this was true, but after looking into it while applying to some universities in Denmark, I've discovered it's real. If you are from the European Union, there is no tuition fees. It's pretty amazing to have access to quality education without the burden of tuition, especially when compared to Portugal, when many people are unable to pursue higher education because they simply can't afford it. That's really sad. Even though taxes are very high in Denmark, the ability to study for free feels like a huge benefit. So yes, it's true, you don't need to pay for study here.
Are people in Denmark unfriendly?
Before moving to Denmark, I heard the misconception that the Danish people and the Nordics in general are cold and unfriendly. Sure, like everywhere else, not everyone is super warm, but from my experience, I've met some really nice people. From neighbors to public service workers, I've encountered plenty of kindness. So I wouldn't say it's entirely true, but I think it's a matter of who you meet. Based on my experience, you are more likely to find kind people than not.
Is there snow everywhere in Denmark?
Before coming to Denmark, another misconception I had was that the country was always covered in snow during winter. This might be because often people confuse Denmark's location with that of Norway, which is further north. Yes, Denmark is cold, but not as cold as Norway, for example. The truth is Denmark gets snow, but not as much as you might think. For my experience, the months with more snow are typically December, January, and February. But at least in the Copenhagen area, the snow usually doesn't go higher than your ankles. Of course, in some other parts of Denmark snows a little bit more, but what I want to say is that it's not always snowing in Denmark. In fact, it's quite warm here now in September. When it does snow, it's not like there are huge snowstorms.
I can do it. I can do it. And I'm
So, there you have it, just a few of the common misconceptions about Denmark finally explained. It's clear that Denmark has its own charm, along with a few misunderstandings. I hope you enjoyed this video. Don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe the channel for more Denmark insights. Follow me on my Instagram account, Joana Alves. Thank you for watching, and I really hope to see you in the next one. Bye! Fala! Good boy!